We're here with Varsity Reds men's soccer coach Miles Pinsent. Miles, you and a couple of your players are about to embark on a very long journey, maybe the longest road trip of your life, the FISU Summer Universiade in Taipei City. Just as you get ready to hit the road, as it were, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings right now?
Well, right now it's a pretty exciting time. A little nervous about what to expect, but at the same time, very excited about the opportunity and very much looking forward to the challenges that we'll face over the next 3 weeks.
You've been the Varsity Reds men's soccer coach for well over 12 years now, had considerable success in the AUS. Just wondering how an opportunity to coach a Team Canada came about for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it was something that I was always interested in, but I felt the timing needed to be right. And, spent the last decade trying to put things in place around the Varsity Red soccer program to try and make it one of the best programs in the country. And, over the last 5 or 6 years, I'm happy with the progress that we've made with the Varsity Reds program. So now I was ready to look for other opportunities and maybe take on these new challenges. And the opportunity, someone had raised the opportunity to me in the last rotation, wondering if it was something I might be interested in. I didn't feel the timing was right. So this time when I put my hat in the ring, I was fortunate enough to be selected as the head coach, and I'm really excited about it.
You've got a really interesting mix of players from throughout U Sports, from across Canada. Can you give us an idea as to how that team was pulled together?
Well, it was a really challenging Universiade this year just because of the schedule. We conflict with the start of the university seasons both in the US and in Canada, so that very much limited the player pool. Some schools, some conferences, they've already started their competitive schedule by the time that we're in Taipei, so they were hesitant to release their players, and especially we're talking about the best players, which is understandable. So we had to kind of focus on players which schools were willing to make their players available. We looked at athletes that had graduated within the window that still allows them to be eligible. But yeah, there were challenges, but we held tryouts in different locations across the country. We reached out to different coaches, and we invited some players purely based upon their reputation and on their careers.
A couple of the players that are part of Team Canada are part of your men's squad here at UNB, Marcus Lees, Evan Barker, and Kalen Park, as well as an incoming recruit. Just in regards to the ones that we are familiar with, Kalen, Marcus, and Evan, what was it about them, what was it about their skill set that brought them to Team Canada?
Sure, I mean, and they were part of the open tryout process, and sometimes there's good and there's bad when you're that familiar with the coach and the coach is that familiar with you. Obviously the upside of it is I know what they're capable of. The downside of it is I know exactly what they're capable of. So it's not a one-off, or it's not based on what other coaches are telling me about them. It's based on years of working with those individuals. But in all of their cases, they very much earned their spots. Evan Barker, I think as a rookie last year, proved himself to be one of the best keepers in all of Canada. He's continued that this summer with his PDL team in Winnipeg, where he's been lights out and has led the entire PDL league in a number of the keeper stats. So he's coming off a very strong summer season, and very much will look and rely on him for strong performances in Taipei. Marcus Lees, everyone knows, is one of the most exciting, most dynamic, potentially one of the most dangerous players in Canada. He's proven that during his 4 previous seasons here at UNB. And then Kalen Park is just a very steady, hard-working, and gifted left back. And I think all those players have a role that they can play on Team Canada, and I think the familiarity will help me figure out how to best use them.
You alluded to the fact that this trip goes essentially from the second week of August to the end of August for you, which bleeds into tryouts for the Varsity Reds and other AUS squads. How's that going to affect your preparation for the coming season?
Well, it means a lot of prep work is done months in advance. Having been at it for a while, you know what needs to be done and the timelines that go along with all of those items. So been working maybe a little bit more diligently over the summer months than some of the previous years, just to make sure that everything was in place. But you just rely heavily on first of all, my assistant coach, longtime assistant coach Ben Law, who's been with me for years and knows what training camp looks like, and so I rely on him heavily, and I trust him completely to be able to take on those challenges for what will be the first week of training camp. And then just the fact that we have a number of veteran players on the squad. Again, they know what to expect with training camp. They know what it's supposed to look like. So I've reached out to some of the veteran players, telling them, that maybe there's a little bit greater expectations on them during this training camp, just to make sure that the new players coming in know what the standard is and know what to expect.
And finally, Team Canada finds itself in a really interesting pool among the teams that you're going to be facing: Uruguay, Malaysia. You open, I think, with the Uruguayans, obviously well known throughout the world for their soccer abilities. What sort of goals have you set for the team? What sort of expectations are there?
Yeah, I mean, you look throughout the history of these games, and Canada in the men's soccer side of things usually, finishes in the bottom third. One year we were in the bronze medal game, but ended up ultimately finishing fourth. So it is a very challenging international competition, and one that Canada is up against it to get results. I like our pool. You never know exactly what to expect, because these competitions differ so much from the previous games to the next games, so you're not sure what to expect and what teams are going to show up with. But historically, Canada's done all right against Uruguay and Malaysia. The other team in our pool is Japan, and they're traditionally very strong. In fact, they won the last FISU games, so we'll get a taste for what the very best looks like. But ultimately, I think every team, and when I look at our pool, I think our hopes are that we can finish in the top two, make it to the round of 8, and then you're one win away from playing for a medal then.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. As we said, you open against the Uruguayans. This competition runs from August 19th through the 30th. We wish you and Marcus and Evan and Kaylin well. Thanks for taking the time, and we look forward to seeing all of the Varsity Reds here at BMO Centre for their home opener on September 16th against the Cape Breton Capers.